and come into the new legislation with regard to COVID-19 and reopening, especially Victorian and federal level, what is expected of us, and then kind of what we're doing as a company to go beyond that so that guests feel safe. So the whole idea behind this is our Hygiene hero. Can anyone tell me what they think that means?
1982.
Yeah.
Being responsible for cleaning every surface area possible, the first person of contact.
Yep.
Yeah, if any customers or guests have any questions or concerns about.
Yeah, perfect, cool. So the role, as far as what we defining it and what Teague across the country is defining it, is split into three main areas, which is minimum touch, maximum clean, and then social distancing or keep it distant. So I'll touch on minimum touch. Tom will go through maximum clean, and then we'll both go through the social distancing. So minimum touch is essentially putting procedures in place, protocols in place to reduce the amount that we touch, guests touch, and to reduce the chances of infection. So little things like when we're directing guests with bowling, directing to only use one ball. So that means that we've got less that we have to physically clean. We've got less opportunities for them to be able to touch something that a guest who may or may not have COVID-19 to touch as well. So we're kind of reducing the instances where we can contract or to spread the viruses. Ensuring that we've got hand sanitisation stations dotted throughout the venue. So that's not just for us, but it's also for our guests. So we've got every opportunity for us and our guests to reduce their chances of infection again. Giving guests safe choices with regards to interaction. So we'll go into it a little bit deeper, but we've got some QR codes with regard to our food and beverage menus. So it means that we don't have to worry about our menus. So our tables are going to be clearer, so there's less opportunities for the virus to kind of spread on that as an option. We've reduced our menus and we've reduced our packaging and how we're doing things to, again, make all of these things easier so that we can do it for our guests. And we're actually going to reduce the use of some attractions. We're putting the stickers, which you've probably already seen, around different places in the arcade so that we're reminding guests of the social distancing measures. And with things like laser, which again we'll go into a little bit, but we're reducing the number of guests that can use them at a time as well. So then we've got maximum clean.
Yep. So as a pretty straightforward, we're just trying to maximize what we're actually cleaning. And the way it's kind of broken down is into things that are to be cleaned like a minimum amount of times a day, or on like they're an hourly clean. And then there are things which are to be cleaned pretty much after every use. So that's a lot of things. It's like they're single items. So importantly for the arcade is going to be VR. So obviously, as soon as someone uses that needs to be cleaned. It's the same with the laser tag suits as well. So I guess we'll go into now that we're reducing it down to 10.
Yeah, we're reducing to 10. Also, every single suit that is, we're basically sanitising the whole laser tag menu and all of the suits after every use. So one thing that we've, from a kind of a management point of view and a supervisor point of view on your side, is we're managing the bookings that we're always giving ourselves 15 minutes after every single group to allow us that time to sanitise the area.
And so then that will mean with the suits, making sure that's like 10 suits you use and then not using the same 10 suits for the next game. So you gives you that time to clean. And as we'll go into a bit later, it does take actually a bit of time for the thing to actually take on the clean.
Why are we not allowing them to use the same suits? Because generally what will happen is if they're in there for 3 games, they'll leave those suits on, they won't take them off.
So sorry, it's between groups. So that's group that goes in for 3 missions, will have the same suit. But then the next group after that 3 missions...
Because you still only get that 15 minutes. So say if you've got a booking, you still only get that 15 minutes to clean anyway, because we're not allowed, we have to be in the arena for that 15. We can't be cleaning, because we have to be marshalling in case someone runs or breaks something.
Yep.
But I mean, I personally could clean 10 suits in that 15-minute chunk.
We'll go into it a bit when we go into contact times with the cleaning, but essentially some aspects of our cleaning regime will take 15 minutes for it to become effective.
I get you.
So then with the Hygiene here as well, they do also provide on-request cleaning. So if something, it's more so if like something runs out in like one of the sections, like the sanitizer runs out in the thing, you're the person that's going to be going and replacing it, that sort of stuff. We're in the process of getting a deep clean schedule, so that's something that's to be done throughout the day. So this is kind of all the information to be condensed into what needs to be done throughout the day and what definitely needs to be done by the end of the day, like before everyone goes home, that sort of thing.
So this is going to be on top of this standard close down procedure. There is going to be a deep cleaning checklist that is going to be ticked and initialed so that we can also track who has done it and when, to make sure that everyone is accountable across the business for it.
Yeah. Jazz is currently doing it for both sides, but we might get you guys to have a look at it. Also for the arcade, if there's anything that's missing or if procedures have changed since Jazz is working over there. We're also putting up signage to identify like which balls are clean and stuff like that and ready for use. And then we're going to try and identify what the trackers are single use for cleaning and kind of be able to give that leeway for when someone doesn't use it, and then we can get that cleaning before someone else uses it the next time.
This is not really relevant for me on my side, but with your bowling lane things, because I think Chris was saying that you're going to be using all lanes. What's to stop someone from, if they're on the same, like if they're in the same booth, but they're two different groups, what's to stop someone from using someone else's ball? Because you got to touch all the balls just to roll them around to figure out which one's yours.
So what we're going to do as a guest services team and MOD team is essentially we're going to try and allow individual families in the whole area. So we're going to try and reduce the instances of that.
So they'll essentially become like private booths.
Essentially, yeah. That's how because we're going to be running at reduced capacity, so we should be able to do that. As and when the restrictions release, we're going to have to work that out as we go along. Ultimately, yeah, you're right. We might not be able to, if two size 9 balls look exactly the same, we can't necessarily denote that. But as we said earlier, we're going to try and tell everyone to use one ball per person. You'll know that a lot of guests will grab like 3 or 4 of the same size. So that will at least, we'll go down the education route with the guests. Everything that we're putting in place, we can't enforce, we can just guide. So as you kind of come to go.
And then in terms of like what needs to be cleaned at what rate, like more specifically, we'll kind of go into that a bit later on once we go through the actual cleaning equipment and stuff.
Cool. So social distancing is the final pillar with regard to the Hygiene Hero. So obviously we've seen the markers. We've got 2 different types of markers, the dots and the strips. The strips are going to be in front of every kind of counter. We're waiting on around about 70 more of them to be delivered on Tuesday, which I'll then go around and denote. There's going to be 5 in front of the bar alone. So the strips are going to be where guests wait whilst they're being served. The dots are to denote where the queues are. Obviously 1.5 metres, they're there as a guide. We cannot enforce it. We are relying on our guests to that. We have no statutory authority to enforce it. We are just here to guide our guests and remind them of the social distancing. Ultimately, it's 1.5 metres between guests. We're looking at, for our offices, back of house is going to be a 2 metre gap between anyone that is in the office. Obviously, the sales team are working from home at the moment, so we're reducing the incidence of people coming in. And as you said earlier, we're reducing the amount of people in different areas. So we're also going to be using pins and 300 in different capacities to what they used to have been and different ways. So guests can use pins as opposed to it being a private function. That's an extra 2 lanes for us, so we can spread our guests out. As we did before we closed, we've got 300 that's full of machines so that we've got the arcade spread out. You guys have spent X amount of hours over the last couple of weeks and you've still got another couple of days to spread the games out. Again, with more stickers reminding guests of the 1.5 metres between them. So it's the whole idea behind this is a team effort and we're all there together. Cool. So if we go through the resources that we've kind of touched upon, so we've got a number of different signs and different ways that we're going to be doing things. Hygiene heroes are going to be assigned on shift. You'll see it on your roster. You will be given your lovely badge, your superhero badge. We'll have signs at the front and the back stating our current capacity. That is ever changing. We, as you'll all know, we were due to be opening Monday, but because of certain legislation changes and what we're designated at, we obviously not anymore. But we'll update that. We've got signs that denote that the balls are clean, so these will go out at all of the different stations for the balls to let the guests know that they are clean. We'll take them in if they're not clean and we're not happy with them. And we've also got some stickers that we can put on those areas as well. We've then got a number of different signages that kind of try and get guests to use touchless payment methods. Obviously, we've updated all of our point of sales to allow that. We've also, across on our iTellers, upped the amount of money that guests can pay on Tap and Go without having to enter the PIN number. They can now do $200 as opposed to $100. So we've also got signage showing guests that we've got more CCTV as well, because obviously with that gives more option for guests who want to try and cheat the system.
Do we actually have more cameras? Or
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we've actually got CCTV cameras on all of the iTellers now, which hasn't had in the past. At the front door, similar to, before we close, we've got the robot with the QR code saying what we're doing. So that's, if you can't remember or not confident enough, show the guests towards that. That tells them everything that we're going through today and kind of goes through into more specifics so they can read exactly what we're doing as a company to keep them safe. We're going to have posters spread throughout the whole venue in order to do that as well. As Victorian law states, we need a contact register. So obviously with bowling, laser, we've obviously got the organisers' details, but we need everyone in the group. So we need to point everyone towards the QR code readers. We're going to have one at the front door, which is going to be our entrance only, when we're going to work together to work out where we need them so that we don't have to impact the guest journey. So say someone's bowling and they've forgotten to do it, they don't have to go to the front. It means that we've got them around so that they can
Is this
continue.
mandatory or suggestive?
We can't force them because we don't have the statutory authority to do it, but we have to really push them towards doing it. And also with regard to that, we are not going to keep their details for marketing. A lot of other companies are, we're not. So it is only for the Victorian government and their legislation. It's not for marketing purposes. Like as soon as this is over, their stuff will get deleted. And then we alluded to it, we have QR codes which are going to be put on all tables, and we'll do some over in quick food as well, and also on the bar. It means that we don't have the physical menus. Also means that we don't have to reprint them because we've got reduced menus.
Is that for food and drinks?
Yes, we've got a food and a drink one.
Two separate ones. The drink menu is completely, as far as I can see, is completely the same. The food menu is severely reduced, so there's like a page.
Right.
Yeah, so off the top of my head, we've got the New York Street Dog, we've got pizzas, we've got, is it burger? And then we've got some kids' foods. So yeah, really, really reduced.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. And we're working on potentially getting, so for the lanes, the updated menu, put it on that one rather than the full menu.
Yeah.
But we'll see how like.
Yeah, so we're going to speak with head office to try and reduce the what's on the point of sale.
Yeah, just to make it clearer.
Yeah.
Because one of the touch points that we've gone is that they might still, obviously we want them to try and use the point of sale because that reduces contact between the guests and us as well.
Yeah.
So this isn't just about keeping the guests safe, it's also about keeping you as a team safe as well.
Yeah.
So if we can get them through that, but ultimately there may be an incident where the guest orders something that's not is on the full menu but not on the reduced menu. So we need to keep an eye on that. Hopefully that will be fixed, but
well with that is we're trying to limit the touch point of contact, but we're not dropping our service model.
Yeah, so you can still communicate the menu and upsell from a distance.
Yeah.
Encourage them to place orders on their phone, basically.
Yeah.
Oh no, we won't. So at these tables, it's still going to be
Okay.
full service. It's
Yeah.
at the bowling.
Just
Yeah.
the lanes, yeah.
Keep the same level of service, but we just got to be a bit more mindful with distancing and all that sort of stuff.
So in that case, sorry, you're saying on the lanes, the QR code.
So the QR code will go in the corner of all of the tables. It will give the food menu and the drink menu. So we don't have the physical menus. Something that
But
again.
they still put order on.
They can still put the order, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why you're saying they might order something from the full menu. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to reduce the menu. Like we're trying to basically make that match this, but we're not sure if that's
So
a
encourage them to
possibility
use the
yet.
QR code as opposed to the screen.
Oh, yeah, so the QR code is all it is just like a PDF. Like it's
Oh, they can't order.
It's not ordering,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Cool. I've been to a few places where you can.
Yeah.
So ours is integrated.
Yeah, ours isn't integrated, unfortunately. So yeah,
Right.
as far as at a table, you're going to have to take the order at a safe distance.
Right.
But it's on the bowling lanes where they have got the option to put it directly in. We're going to try and guide them through that to kind of
Right.
reduce. So we can reduce where possible,
Yeah.
where our contact with our guests.
Got it.
And there is one other form that we are going to have to fill at the beginning of everyone's shift, which is a temperature check. We are doing temperature checks for staff. We're not doing temperature checks for our guests. So we've discussed as a kind of leadership team how we're going to do it. Ultimately, you're going to sign in, and then we'll have the temperature gun at the guest services desk. If you are above 37.5 degrees, you will be given 5 minutes in which to hopefully see it cool down, just in case you've had to run here on the train or something like that. If you have a second instance of 37.5 degrees, we will send you home. You will, obviously, because we're on JobKeeper, we will get paid anyway. We'll then ask you to get tested for COVID-19, and then obviously share with us the result. If you're negative, then it's fine, you can come back to work. Obviously, it's probably unlikely to be the same day. If you are positive, we will need to know at the moment that you have a positive result, because we then have to look into the policies and procedures, notify health services, notify our health and safety team at head office. So there's a number of different things that we have at kind of a leadership level that we really need to put in place, and there is a chance that we might have to close the menu and sanitize it for 2 weeks. So it's very serious. Cool.
Cool, so clean utensils. So there's a lot of stuff that we're still getting in, ordered into venue. So what we're getting is as you've seen at like the supermarkets, as you enter, there's a hand sanitizer station there when you enter. So we're getting 3
at the moment. I'm going to see if I can source some more.
Yeah. So that's at the moment. It's going to be front entrance, back entrance, and into the redemption store. And then hopefully we'll put one in 300 and on around the bowling lanes. We also are getting some alcohol wipe dispensers to put near the bowling ball racks, as well as hopefully one per 20 games, which might be a little bit tricky just because there's obviously so many there, but definitely enough that they don't have to walk too far. As well as obviously just a team of bunch of alcohol wipes, all single use.
So similar to what you've seen the spotless guys going around, they've got the buckets of the alcohol wipes. We're going to have some of them as well.
Yep. More spray bottles. So obviously, like what we've always been using. Masks, which I guess you want to go into.
So we're obviously going to have masks for you as staff if you want to wear them. They're going to be the N95 masks. We're still waiting on them to come in. Just with regard to that, and I think this is yours from the other day, Amy.
Still makeup on it?
Yeah.
Perfect, cool. So we have 2 different types of masks. We have the N95 mask, which is to protect yourself. There are a number of different things that you need to do in order to wear it. Obviously, before you put one on, you need to wash your hands, keep it on. If it becomes wet, which can happen as soon as 30 minutes, depending on how much you breathe out water. As soon as it becomes wet, you have to bin it, and then you have to do it again. If you are ill, we will give you a dust mask or a surgeon's mask, which was protecting everyone else. So there is quite a difference between them. This is basically just a barrier between your face and everyone else's. whereas this is actually got their full protection. We'll also have gloves as well. Can anyone tell me the first thing that you need to do when you're putting on the gloves?
Wash and dry your hands.
Yeah, sorry, say it louder.
Wash and dry your hands.
Wash and dry your hands, yep. Gloves are literally single use only, so you need to make sure that you're clean before you're putting gloves on. So before you even touch the box, wash your hands, take the prerequisite amount of gloves you need, put them on, do whatever you are doing with those gloves. So if you are going for a sweep around and sanitizing and cleaning areas, it's fine. As soon as you finish doing that, dispose of the gloves and wash your hands. Why do you think they're single use only?
So you can't really wash your gloves and stuff can stick to them, like bacteria.
Perfect, yeah. COVID-19 will actually stay on these gloves for 3 hours and be alive for 3 hours. So you actually stand the risk you'll protect yourself, but you will actually spread the virus itself around. So you've got to be very, very mindful of that. Right, so we're going to go into the types of cleaners we've got. Can anyone tell me the two main types of cleaners that you should be using on a day-to-day basis?
In the arcade, we use the orange and the blue one.
Cool, okay. So, do you know what the orange one is?
Not just a multi-purpose cleaner.
Yeah, perfect, cool. Do you know what it's used for?
Not specifically, apart from just cleaning stuff.
Cool. So, it's a multi-purpose cleaner, so it is used for getting rid of grime, dirt, and dust, nothing else. The sanitizer which we are using is used for sanitizing only. It doesn't get rid of dirt, grime, and dust. This is what you use for sanitizing things. So, at the end of the night, you need to be using both as part of our deep cleaning regime. And if you're using this, your area is not sanitized, it's only clean. There is a distinct difference. Can anyone tell me how long you need to leave your sanitizer on an area for it to work?
That one specifically, or just...
Our one specifically.
Doesn't it say just leave to air dry?
30 seconds.
So yeah, leaving it to air dry or a minimum of 30 seconds before you wipe and dry it. Basically, it takes 30 seconds for this to do the damage to the virus and to work for what we actually need it to do. So when we come to wiping a table, you wipe the table, you spray the table, you wait 30 seconds for this to do the damage to the virus, you then wipe it down and dry it. Otherwise, you're just spreading the virus around. Also, you're spraying the table, you're not spraying the cloth, because likewise, you are just spreading. So when you're cleaning, you're using a sponge, and when you're sanitizing, you're using chucks. Sponges are multi-use, chucks are you can wipe the area, then once you have finished sanitizing that area, you bin it.
In the arcade, are we okay to use a chucks for like a bunch of games, or one chucks per game?
As long as you're spraying the games and waiting the 30 seconds, because that's what's killing the virus, then yes, you can wipe it down with the chucks. Do you use the glass cleaner for?
Pardon?
Do you use the blue spray for
Just the
sanitizing?
glass.
Just a glass, yeah.
Still need to use this. So on there, as we'll go into the cleaning schedule, you'll be using the sanitizer, not the glass. The glass again is a cleaner; it's not a sanitizer.
I meant to like just clean the glass when you use it.
But so this is the difference between cleaning and sanitizing.
Yeah.
So yeah, cleaning is literally getting rid of the grime, the finger marks on all of the glass. That's what you're going to use your blue glass cleaner for.
And then spray it with that.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Can we do that? Oops, sorry. Can we do that first and then use the blue thing, because the blue thing will make it look nice at the end, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fine. As long as it's sanitized. Yes.
Yeah.
And do all of you guys know where to refill and how to refill all this?
Yeah.
Under the dishwasher?
So these are refilled in the kitchen. So as you go into the kitchen on your right, there is like it's where the mop and stuff
Yeah,
are.
I've seen that area, yeah.
The easiest way as well is the color on the label here is the color for what is actually meant to go into here. So yellowy orange, and then a pink.
Or blue for your glass cleaner. Yeah.
It's important to make sure that you are putting the correct cleaner into the correct bottle, because otherwise, if you put a multi-purpose into here, into the sanitizer, and then we start using it, we're only cleaning, we're not sanitizing.
What should we do if we see the wrong colour liquid in the wrong colour bottle?
Pour it out, refill it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and without fail, please. I expect part of the reason that we've got you guys in for this first training session is because you're the ones that we can trust in the business to get this done. So we really want you guys to take the lead on that. Perfect, cool. So we're going to go through over a little bit more of the specifics. So I've talked about table and how we're going to do that. Can anyone remember, Dean, can you tell everyone how we cleaned the bowling lanes before we closed, before the outbreak?
How we clean them?
Yeah.
Not really. I can. All I did was mop them.
Okay. So with regard to sanitising the bowling areas, any area that can be touched by a guest needs to be sprayed. So we start at the table and also the seats as well. The cloth seats on lanes 1 to 4 are slightly different. You can't easily sanitise them. But the vinyl and the level ones on lanes 5 through 12, make sure that you're spraying all of them, starting at the outside all the way along. Same with the table. You're then spraying your point of sale, spraying the whole of the ball runner and the balls on them, and then you start at the beginning again, wiping everything down, start to finish, and then drying again. Then that's at that point, everything is sanitized.
So are you saying that before you were actually using the surface cleaner and the sanitizer on the lanes?
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So we use a cleaner, say on the seats, or just a sanitizer?
So if it's between guests, sanitizer. At the end of the night, you need to do both.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah?
And the table you do both.
Yes. Yeah. So if there's grime on a table, so if someone spills something on a table or one of the lane tables, you need to use the cleaner to get rid of whatever that is, because that's what it's designed for. You then still need to sanitize the area. Cool. So with everyone happy with how we're going to be cleaning the games, or do you want us to kind of go through just like an example of that?
Well, I mean, the way we've been told is we do the general cleaning list that we have every day. Whether it's changed or not, I don't know. And then at night, before we ended up closing, we would just sanitize the control surfaces. But if we have to sanitize anywhere that it could be touched, that's going to take a really long time.
Ultimately, what you're going to take my as an example.
Yeah.
The way that I'd go about it is start with your sanitizer and you spray top to bottom along the whole of the thing. You wait for 30 seconds. You wipe top to bottom so that you're following exactly the same thing. So you've got the full 30 seconds top to bottom as well. And then just get some paper, dry it.
Yeah.
So it can be done relatively quickly. So with regard to my, you might actually spray it and then instead of waiting 30 seconds and standing in front of it looking beautiful as you do it, maybe do the kiosk next to it.
Do a couple things to go.
So we basically meant to sanitize the whole visible surface area of every game, or
ultimately, yeah, anywhere that's someone who can touch but also sneeze, breathe, because COVID
that's like a closing thing, I'm assuming.
No, so we'll actually go through that now. Tom, if you want to go through the.
Oh, and before we just go through that, just for some questions that I've been holding onto in my brain.
Yeah.
Just in terms of a risk for the staff, if we do have to close and sanitize the whole venue, is that something that will be professionally done or something that will be done by our staff?
It's done by us.
Okay, cool.
So it's not. So it's sanitizing using the products and the training that
Yeah.
you've done already. I mean, we're not going to fumigate the
Yeah, I get you. And
or do you mean in the event of closure due to
like a COVID outbreak thing?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But that's something I can find out.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, I thought you meant at the end of the
No.
night.
Just
Cool.
if say a staff member gets a positive or something like that.
Well, fortunately, we haven't had an incident of this, so we don't know. But that's something that Chris and I will speak with head office and we'll work it out.
Yeah, I get you. And I forgot my other side.
Just ask us if you remember.
Yeah, cool. And if anyone's got any questions that they can't, they haven't thought of or don't necessarily want to say, come to me or Tom and just email us and we'll answer any questions.
Alright, so just with the maximum clean, so this is kind of what we're looking at in terms of how frequently to clean things. Obviously, so the arcade games that aren't VR, as well as kind of stuff related to the games, balls, pucks, that sort of stuff, continually, at least twice a day.
So
And that's
by-
the whole visible surface area, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So by continually, what we're talking about, similar to what you guys are doing anyway, if you're walking past it, you're going to give it a clean sort of thing.
And down to F+ machines continually, since that's quite it's going to be quite a heavy contact point, so probably more so it's going to be an hourly thing. If you got time, you can probably do it after every use, but it depends. So same with the bowling balls, including Highway 66 is continually throughout the day.
We're actually going a little bit further with regards to bowling balls by doing it after every single interaction. One thing to note with bowling balls, which part would we hardly ever clean, do you reckon? But we are going to this time.
Inside the holes.
Yeah. Need to make sure that you get the finger holes cleaned.
So we're doing the balls for Highway 66 here as well?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that still the same at least twice a day thing, or?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Twice a day. I think there's a lot of things in that side.
Yeah, yeah.
So does that mean you would spray that in the actual finger holes? Are they okay? Cool.
I mean, probably use the swab, but probably might be a bit greasy.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we have posters?
No,
Not
Cowboy?
we are going to have enough bottles for everyone per person, unfortunately, as much as I'd love. If you've got a holster and you want to bring it in, you're more than welcome to wear your
I'll give one for everyone.
Yeah, if you want a Batman belt.
chaps probably for a different night.
So obviously VR games and laser the best in the phases after every use. Also trying to use these as well with the VR games. They're not compulsory. Highly recommended and suggested.
With the VR cleaning, like I understand after every use, but as you can probably guess, it's very hard to watch like a hawk all of those VR games. I mean, the VR Quest, or whatever it's called, yeah, we can do that after every game, but the ones that are just littered throughout the arcade.
So the idea is obviously with the moving, all the VR games
All the VRs.
are being moved.
All the VR's going to be around the
Right,
counter.
Around the counter area.
Yeah,
Are
and
we-
you will actually have someone rostered on, and that will be your job for the day.
So are we going to have extra staff while the job keeper is
Yes.
running? Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And well, we're not sure what's going to be happening afterwards, and we don't obviously know how long these restrictions are going to be in place. But as long as we will adhere to these as best we possibly can in order to do that. If we need to, the idea is that we're not going to turn any machines off. But if we feel that it's impossible to do it, then that's an option that we might have to go down. With JobKeeper, as you alluded to, we can actually start up at the moment, so hopefully that's not a thing that we have to worry about. But as leaders in the arcade, it's something that you guys have got to get your team on board with.
Also, just with the laser tag stuff, what cleaner do you guys use up there on like actual tests? Do you use
Blend 20.
Cool.
Just spray it. And we only really do that if it, I mean,
Yeah.
I know we're meant to be doing it all the time, but when it's busy, we do it when it's like
Cool.
sweaty.
So now, obviously, it's every time.
With the 15 gap.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what Tom's actually trying to ask is, how long does it take for Glen 20 to work? So we've already said it's 30 seconds for this. How long do you reckon it takes for Glen 20 to work?
I'm going to just take a stab and say 20 because of Glen 20. Probably wrong, but I'm going to take a stab.
To be fair, you're actually nearer than a lot of other people earlier. Anyone else want to take a stab? Dean, Ardell, you would have heard this earlier.
10 minutes.
Actually takes 10 minutes to work. So that's part of the reason why you were having that 15 minutes after every single laser session, is because you actually need that amount of time for this to work. And that's why you're going to be swapping, because there may also be that overlap where you can't guarantee that the full 10 minutes has
Are
happened.
we just using Glen 20 on the suits, or are we using the sanitizer on the suits?
What do you reckon would be better?
Probably the sanitizer.
Okay, I'm saying, so from an operational standpoint, that's
Yeah,
like you.
I mean
you
the
think that-
units are sealed, and as long as you do it right, you have no danger of it getting in.
Yep.
You just got to make sure you do it right.
Yeah,
If you
that's
do it
fine.
the wrong way, then you'll break it. But yeah,
Well, your you and Dion are pretty much in charge
Yeah,
of laser
yeah.
only. So if you want to take everyone through that when we train people on a kind of shift by shift basis, then like I'm happy for you to do that.
And so I'm assuming 10 people up there, and it's just they use 10 suits, and then those 10 suits you chuck off to the side and clean, and then someone else use a different set of 10 suits, and then it's just a rotatory basis.
We've also got to bear in mind about touch points in the arena as well, which is why you've got that 15 minutes. So things like the door handles, they're going to have to be cleaned, and I'm not sure about other parts, but like we've got to be mindful. And
not
maybe
many
this is where-
people will touch stuff in there.
So that's why it's potentially easy. You can potentially just do the clean 20 on the suits. Quick thing, you can leave for 10 minutes and just go on to your next clean bit.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to have a shit ton of Glen 20 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, another question as well for laser tag. Is it just one group? Like, for example, if it's like a group of 5 books in, and then another group of 5 wants to go in the same session?
It depends entirely on the legislation at the time we open.
Okay.
More than likely, one group.
So it's like private kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
What?
But yeah, so I'm saying I can't tell you that because it's probably going to change about 5 times between now and when we open anyway.
But for now, it's like private booking pretty
Yes.
much.
Yeah. One thing to note about shoes. Oh no, with that I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, just the last thing really is just going to be door handles, so like toilets, stuff like that, countertops, and then the kiosks and the card set machines. Minimum of an hour on the hour. Yeah, every hour.
So essentially, exactly what we were doing beforehand. Like, we will have designated people to do this now, and this is what we're training you guys so that you can then be the trainers for everyone else. Okay. Yes.
Are we going to get rid of all the board games, or are we going to sanitize them after every use? Please get rid of them.
Just give
We'll yet to be discussed. More than likely, remove them because one thing that we did come across with your the card collect.
Yeah,
The cards and the coins, they are going to have to be sanitized. However, you can get away with using detergent. So when you pull out the boxes, fill them with warm water and detergent and leave them for about 10 minutes. And then obviously empty it and dry it. And
What boxes are you talking about?
The coin
Card set.
Oh, yeah.
Or like put the cards like before you're actually touching them, spray them and disinfect.
Okay. So we're literally just going to have like a vat of dishwashing detergent out the back and just tip them in pretty much.
But you've got quick food, you can just use the, just like literally. So instead of going into the facilities room where you do it like normally, you go into quick food, fill them with warm water and detergent, leave them for 10 minutes and then basically empty and dry them. And then that will suffice. But it's something that, again, like that there is a distinct possibility that they could have trace COVID elements on them. So
redo the colors because the red changed to black.
yeah, but exactly. So it's something that we need to be really aware of. As Emmy just said, like the games over there, it's something that we're going to have to remove because we cannot guarantee the cleaning. But at least with the card collect, you can fill those basins up. Do we have spare ones so we can just swap them in and out?
Yeah.
To an extent, yeah.
Maybe if we can look into doing that so that we don't have to worry about them being out of commission for 10 minutes or so. But,
with the full table, all the balls get smashed every time they're used. So how would you do with that?
That is the twice a day. So maybe twice a day we open it, similar to how we start in the morning. So we'll set them up so someone gets a free game, and we'll make sure that when the guest leaves and finishes playing as well, we ensure that they leave the cues on top of the tables and to ensure
It's set up an automated system, right? Every time the balls move, like you have like spray booth set up.
Actually, one thing that we're going to do with Pong, which the guys earlier came up with, is instead of using water, we're actually going to use detergent. So it's actually going to be like pink water.
That's so smart.
So it's going to be cleaned as you play.
Okay, it's going to be slippery though.
Just means that you only have to use more skill check.
More of a challenge.
Just make sure no one accidentally goes to drink it.
Well, at least they'll be clean.
Very true.
That's a whole Donald Trump sort of
Better than bleach.
Yes.
Holy
Injecting-
shit! Yeah, it is Donald
So
Trump.
It is.
we've got that in mind. The dishwashers are actually, so the rinse cycle in dishwashers goes up to 80 degrees, that's actually for a different virus that we have to be aware of as far as food and beverage goes, which is hepatitis, which is a lot higher. I'm not sure at what temperature COVID gets destroyed, but it's probably lower than hepatitis, which is what that's for. So it's already designed around that anyway. Obviously, when we're doing things like that, we're making sure that we're washing our hands regularly, because we've just got to be really mindful that you are touching things that other guests have touched.
I read online on the COVID training that we'll be using plastic cutlery. Is that true?
We, as yet undecided, we're going down the route of, because we don't want to change the service model, and because we've got the 80-degree temperatures that do sanitize in the dishwashers, we're going to go.
Yeah.
We'll stay with that. If it's still unfeasible, we will look down the plastic route. We aren't going to have caddies on the table though, so they are only going to be put on the table for guests that. Cool. So that kind of goes into like our new protocols. So with regard to that, so bowling shoes, we're going to be running it like we do our G&C. So anyone that's got closed flat shoes on already, they don't need to change. Only if they've got high heels or open-toed shoes or thongs, flip-flops if you're speaking proper language. So yeah, we're not forcing the guests. Pardon?
Jandals
Or jandals. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Jandals. So yeah, we're not forcing them, so we're reducing the chances of that reducing that touch point as well. Cool. We've got the staff temperature checks we talked about earlier as well. So obviously every single shift, please get your temperature checked. Please remind everyone's as well.
Illness.
Cool. So with illness, if you have cold or flu symptoms, please do not come into work. Please go and get a test for COVID-19. And again, as I said earlier, if you have COVID-19, we need to know about it as soon as you do, please, because we need to go down the route of ensuring that the venue is safe, sanitized, we don't spread it to any other guests, and we don't spread it to any other team members.
Just a thing on that. This is more or less for the management team. Maybe just something for them to look out for. But just before we closed, I know there was a lot of don't come into work if you're sick and all that kind of stuff. But if you were a knowledgeable staff member who was up there with knowing how to do their shit, a lot of the stuff that was sent back to you was but how sick, pretty much. So
So in that event, you guys are hygiene heroes. If that happens, you go to your HOD, or if it is your HOD, go to another HOD, because if you're sick, you're not coming in. It's as simple as that. Okay. But if you are sick with those, we will not let you come back unless you have until you have a negative COVID-19 test. Just so you're aware. So you will need to, as part of your return to work, you will need a COVID-19 test.
Cool. Just no matter what kind of illness, it's just if you
cold and flu.
Yeah.
If it's gastro, it's gastro.
Yeah.
Cold and flu.
But it's if you're coughing or sneezing or something like that, then cool.
So on the kind of thing with illness, if you see a guest that is ill or if there is a first aid incident, we still go with rule number 1 of first aid, safety first, your own safety first, okay? So if someone refuses to be treated, we cannot force anyone to do anything, but we can get Crown medics and Crown security involved, so we will go down that route, okay? So, and then we'll go down the contact tracing should we need to at the end, because they will then be asked to test. Again, likewise, we can't force anyone to be given first aid, or if you're uncomfortable with it, go and get. Essentially, it's the MODs and the HODs that are trained anyway. I don't know if anyone else is. You guys might be.
Yeah.
So yeah, just obviously making sure that you guys are comfortable to do it. We're not going to force you. Just get someone else if you're not. Making sure that we're obviously filling out our incident reports with regard to that, and all of the first aid kits have been tested to ensure that they have the shields should you need to do CPR. Obviously, please make every available opportunity to put PPE on before you go and see a guest, because you will be in close proximity if you're doing first aid. So you will need to have a mask, you will need to have gloves, and you will need to be very careful, okay? Any questions on that, guys?
So, you might have covered this. My brain just went dead for a few seconds. If we see someone that's like coughing and spluttering,
Cool. So you basically you are going to treat it as a first aid incident.
okay.
So if it's a guest or even if it's a team member, is at that point it's now a first aid incident. So you're going to need to get.
So you go up to them and then you try and give them a mask or something like that. And if they tell you to get stuff, then you
HOD
escalate,
and then escalate it. So MOD or HOD will call in crowd security.
Yes. Cool.
And with regard to that conflict resolution, obviously just be mindful that we cannot force guests to do anything. We are here in a guiding and recommendation role. But if you feel uncomfortable, go and speak to an MOD, a supervisor at HOD, and we'll try and resolve it. Okay?
Do you like sneakily spray their hands?
No.
And with the people cap, whatever it will be when we open, because I'm sure it'll change. You said we're going to have only one entrance and exit, which is
Yes.
going to be the front.
So front entrance is going to be our entrance. The by the crown lift is going to be our exit.
How are we going to police that?
So we are going to have concierge on both.
Okay.
Obviously, so that's during the day when we have security, they will be doing that. Supervisors and hygiene heroes. For the moment, you will be requested to download a free counting app. We have one as a company that will send out to everyone, and we'll be doing clickers on the inside. So we're going to be keeping an eye on the front doors with our counters that we have on the front and back doors to see how many guests we've got in the whole area, and then we're going to be looking at how many we have in individual areas as well.
So we're going to have a counter like at the beginning of the arcade, pretty much.
There's already sensors installed
Are you talking about at the door,
at the door.
or at the beginning of the
And then
arcade?
as part of the role of the hygiene hero is you will have a counter, whether it's a physical counter or your phone and an app,
Okay.
to go around as part of the role. Okay.
Okay. So we're not actually going to have a person like standing at the entrance to the arcade. I'm not talking about the main door. I'm talking about like.
The arcade, no. So if it gets to a point where we're reaching whatever cap we are at, we're going to have to probably put in the bollards and stuff like that.
But what it'll be is just walk around and just count people and then go, yeah, it's fine, or
Yeah, or like,
No,
we're
it's
getting really
not.
close. No, it's not fine. Close, whatever.
what if we're over?
We will close the front door until we're below.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, we've already, Chris and I have already spoken to the MODs. They will have the authority, regardless of whether we're on site or not, to close the front door until such time as we become compliant again. The only thing is that they need to let us know. Okay, so if you guys feel that we are getting close to capacity, let them know and get that check done. Okay, because that's where we can start becoming liable.
So the
Security be playing in the morning?
Yes, yep. As long as so when they are on, so during the week they're on from 5 through till close. On the weekends they're on all day. They will be doing those checks as well. Yeah, but I want everyone to take part of this. So don't just rely on them. As a team, this is how we're going to ensure that we are compliant and we are as safe as we possibly can be.
Yeah.
Don't think of it necessarily about us trying to jump through hoops. It's us trying to keep ourselves safe, essentially.
So the doors will be counting people in and out, and then you'll just have people like me or whatever walking around us.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, we'll know roughly, but obviously we're going to be going around and ensuring that those numbers, one, are accurate, and two, that we haven't got too many people in different areas.
And it is like, if say we go 50, it's not like what it was at the beginning where it was a pooled value. It's just like 50 per area.
But yeah, like you say, depending on the legislation,
Yeah.
everyone will be briefed that day on what that day's current legislation is.
Cool.
Cool. So every single shift, there will be a shift huddle to discuss these sort of things,
Yeah.
like who's going to be doing what with regard to like hygiene hero, clicking. There is going to be hygiene heroes across both sides rostered on every single day. VRs will have someone rostered on every single day to ensure that they are clean. We might obviously swap roles during the day because I can't imagine that shift would be particularly awesome if you're just cleaning VRs. But yeah, so it's going to be a back and forth as well. So if you feel like you're unsafe or there is something that you're not happy about, like go to someone, get it resolved. Like there's no question, no query is stupid. Like we've got to be really willing to kind of put our hands up and point out if there's something that you don't feel that is right or safe. Okay.
Yeah.
And Robbie, just to recap, maximum number of people allowed in the venue is 10 or 20?
Legislation at the moment. So currently, if we were open, this side would be 20 because we're a bowling indoor
Sport and recreation.
Sport and recreation, which is why we've made the decision not to open. Indoor arcades are not allowed to be open, so that's why that's not open at all. The legislation will change. The next changes are the 1st of July, and then after that, the 20th.
Do we know anything about the arcades for that date or not?
It's still up in the air. The latest that we're thinking is the 20th of July is most likely, but again,
depends.
We will be keeping you guys appraised as soon as we know you will know. Okay, sure. Just as an example, New South Wales and Canberra are open today.
Yeah.
They had 4 days' notice, so it can be pretty quick. Yeah. But as soon as we know, we'll let you know, guys. 2 final little things. Obviously, deliveries. We're going to try and keep them as non-contact as possible. So, Toll, Fast Track, they all have their own non-contact delivery methods anyway. With regards to our beer deliveries, which are more for you guys, and for the food deliveries, non-contact, get them to put it into the venue as far as they will put it in. If it is a keg or something like that, we will sanitize it and then we will move it. If it is in a box, we will sanitize it. If it is in a cardboard box, we need to remove it from the cardboard, wash our hands, remove it from the cardboard box, bin the cardboard box, sanitize everything that was in the cardboard box, and then put it away. It sounds draconian, but ultimately it means that we are reducing every kind of chance of incident. And then meetings and training. Ideally, we're going to have some more training now that we're not open. It's all going to be via Zoom unless I need to show you stuff. So the 1 or 2 people, I'm going to show you how to do the sanitizer in a second. So we can do that via Zoom easily. Cool. And then the final 2 points are everyone here has done their COVID training and also they've done their COVID form. So thank you very much. Can you get everyone else on board with it? No one will be starting work unless they have done both of those as a bare minimum. And as a company, we cannot force you to, but we can implore you to download the COVID Safe app. Government's recommendation is to have it. It just means that it makes contact tracing should the worst happen and that there is a COVID-19 case linked to us. We can all track one another. I've got mine on in my pocket. I know Tom's got his working on in his pocket. It's something that the HADs are all doing. I can't force you to do it. I'm just suggesting that you do it, please. Has anyone else got any other questions?
I just have one more question about the arcade section of 300.
Yeah.
So I know before we close, I saw someone from Playtime going and checking. The people on this side, should we check it, if we've got free time as well, or should we just focus on our area?
If we've got time and everything out of this side is clean, we'll help. We're all one team. I know that up until recently, we've always kind of been seen as 2 separate sides. As a leadership team, we're trying to get everyone together. So I just on the radio, just let them know that you've gone round. So it means that they don't necessarily make an unnecessary journey. And also it means that we're again reducing that kind of flow of people breaking on the potential to break the 1.5 metre distance.
Just in regards to closing the arcade, do we, when we're closing it, have to clean every visible surface of the game as well?
Yes, it will be deep clean every night. You will have time as part of your roster to do it.
Okay.
Again, draconian, but it's necessary in order for us to...
So I'm assuming we'll be given for example, if we were going to close at 12, we'll be given 12 to 1 or whatever to do it?
That's pretty much what it is.
And is that for everyone or just select people that will be? Because there's a lot of games.
So it will be as many as it's needed.
Yeah.
So currently we're obviously working with JobKeeper, so we don't have to worry necessarily about cutting those hours like we would pre-close down. So
I'm assuming supervisors will have the power to still keep people back if needed to clean. Yeah, cool.
The only exception to that is if we've rostered someone on that isn't on JobKeeper, because we still have to.
Yeah.
So that would have to probably go through an MOD or an HOD.
And even the people who are on JobKeeper, I'm assuming would have to keep track of the hours so they don't go over what 750 would equal.
Yes, So I'm actually tasked with that. So if someone is getting close, if you guys can let me know, because I need to be, I will be the one that's across that. Or anyone else got any other questions?
Just to reiterate, Robbie, at the end of our shift when we close,
Yep.
we're not only just cleaning everything around here, we're also cleaning every single lane, every gutter, every tops of the gutters
Not the tops of the gutter. So
we stand on, no?
no.
Or-
So it's a deep clean of the areas that guests have used. So guests, unless something has gone seriously wrong, are not going to be on top of the gutters. In which case we'll probably be cleaning them, but for different reasons anyway. But it's on top of the normal close down procedure. You're making sure that you're sanitizing. So on the normal night, we would have cleaned the tables ideally with the cleaner, but we're making sure that we're cleaning the tables and the surfaces, but we're then also sanitizing.
And so it's like pretty much like normally we do tables, making sure that we're also doing the chairs.
Yeah.
For the following lanes, we normally do the screens, making sure we're doing where the ball rack is, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and
Just a little bit extra.
yeah, and in regards to that, like bowling balls is an exception, but like the bowling racks, are we cleaning them too?
Yep. So
Sure.
again, you're sanitizing this. Instead of cleaning, you're sanitizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, it's knowing the distinction between that.
Yeah.
So even things like you don't know if the high chairs have been used during the day, so you're making the assumption that they have been used during the day. So things that pre-COVID that you might let slide, unfortunately, we're not going to let slide. There is a checklist that will be for both sides. It will be signed off by the team member that did that particular job, and it will be signed off by the MAD or HOD on duty. And if it's not done, I will be coming down like a ton of bricks on whomever.
Again, more relevant for like this side, but actually no, we got highway, so yeah. What about like the gutters and the actual lane? Because like the balls touch the gutters and lanes and stuff. I know that's a bit of overkill, but I just thought I'd ask anyway.
Well, the lanes are cleaned every morning anyway as part of the open procedure.
Yeah.
So on this side,
Would we be expected to clean the whole thing of
maybe
highway?
mop by, but there's no oil on Highway 66.
No.
So maybe like as part of the closing
Just
procedure,
soapy water?
soapy water, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. Is like we use sanitizer because it's quick and easier. Soapy water is just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So soapy water and detergent is why we're using soapy water and detergent for the cardstock and for the pump as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Anyone else for anything else? No. Cool. Thank you very much. Just one more last thing. Who doesn't know how to use the machine out the back, or do you all want to follow me and we'll just go through it anyway? The sanitizer and the cleaner.
I'll better follow you for that,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah, perfect. Cool.
I'll just say before thing. So the way, like, obviously the people here that Robbie and Tammy have rusted on, it's because they trust this sort of team of people, for whatever job that they want, that they know that it's going to get done. So it's just kind of, yeah. So like, us as a management team as well do trust you guys, and would like, if you could also just filter all the knowledge and stuff like that down to everybody else, that would be a great help.
Yeah, we will be doing this as part of like